everybody, it's Catherine and welcome to Tuesday Sewing. So today we're going to do another one of our heartfelt thanks, and for those of you that are new, this is just a little project where we are doing a different technique on hearts for a few weeks. The square is, let's have a look, 5x5, and this is so we can send it in the post to somebody, and we're on the back I've been putting heartfelt thanks, and to say thank you, people that are little random acts of kindness, where say a neighbour has been and got some shopping for us, which has been great for us because we've been in shielding, or you know, one of the nurses at the surgery has shown extra kindness, somebody at the hospital, that sort of thing. But we're doing hand quilting today, and I'm doing the tie method. So there are several methods, and there's loads of fantastic videos from really good quilters on YouTube to look at all the different methods. I don't profess that I'm any good at it at all. I'm not a quilter really. I've made a few quilts, but I've always quilted it on the machine, and they've not been massive. I think the largest, I've done a single bed size, 2 of those for my son, my eldest son, who's 29 today, and is lovely partner Charlotte. I did one for her a few years ago. So I don't think I'm the expert by any means. Go and look at others on YouTube. But a lot of what the hand quilting is like straight stitch, slow stitch, burr stitch some people call it. And when you watch them, the straight stitch that they do, they have like a rocking motion. So they go uphill and down dale, and they just thread the needle along. Now there's an art to that, because we could in slow stitch we just pull it in and put it out, and even if we do a few at a time they all end up in a row but flat. So the art to doing the rocking stitch is, as you're rocking it, you're getting like runkles, bits of runkles in your sewing, which is the quilted effect. There'll be loads of reference to Amish community, very much hand quilting, you know, so sometimes this rocking stitch is called the Amish stitch. That takes some doing, the Amish stitch. And also you will see something like the Mennonite large tacking, which is large, really large tacking stitches. But they are the finished article, they are the finished stitch, and I think that looks really effective. But today these tied stitches, tied quilting, is how some of the older ladies at my sewing group taught me. Now, depending on what the effect is, I've done a few with wool and I didn't really like them. They were a bit of heavy going, trying to pull everything through. So I've done a few. It's getting a bit of a curly coat, this heart. So I've done a few already. And the thing that you have to get to grips with this, as I have found, because I haven't done loads of it, is that you've got to leave yourself plenty of loop for tying. Because if you don't, it's a nightmare and it comes undone. So for example, I'm going to do some across here. Put a big double knot in it. It doesn't matter who's going to look at the back. Because, let me move that over there and have a bit more arm room so I'm in the middle for you. Because you'll pull it and try and cut it and then it all comes through, and there's nothing more frustrating, is there? So I'm going to do some across here. So you come out of your fabric, and how they sort of show it in a way is that you put your finger on as you're pulling the stitch through, because we've got to leave plenty loop space for tying, because that's going to be cut and tied. Now when I first I never used to leave enough, and as you can see, probably some of these were a bit of a, you know, they were a bit on the close side, and because you're doing them in a long row you end up pulling some of the length out of the other stitches. So again, we take another stitch through, press down on this. It's a bit hard choosing lace, so really a good inch. Let's take that away. take that again through there, hold on to it down so you're not pulling your stitch entirely through, and then I'm just going to take it through to the back there, and I'm going to tie it off. A lot do it with wool, but you're better off. I've tried it. This wool is pure wool, and it frays and does all sorts of weird and funny things. So you're probably better off with a wool mix. So we're just going to start cutting our loops and tying. Now, you tie as if you know how you were taught to tie your shoelaces, really. You want a little bit of a pucker to it because you want a bit of a... If you want an effect, you know, you don't want it to... See what I mean? You start robbing Peter to pay Paul to have enough to tie. So it's better to leave plenty. If you just want it for the sake of tying together the layers, then, you know, you don't have to pull it too tight. And we do another knot. To secure your knots nowadays, modern quilters use something like fray check or a dab of Fabri-Tac, something like that on it. I don't know what they must have put on it back in the day to stop it fraying, because the knot can fray with wear and wash. There we go, I've left, just bear with me, I didn't leave enough there for that, so I've got to scrunch it up to get it knotted. Get out of the way. Rest of its haircut's getting in the way. Oh, lordy, come on. They work well till you get to the last stitch, and then you think, oh, we should have a bit more to tie. I'm trying to tie it to the wrong bit. Come here, not that one. If you've got a big piece of work, you know, you don't need to have them that close together. You can just do them in each square or tie two squares together. I know I'm scrunching it up because I've got to get the knot through, my thread through. There's that many blinking threads here. I don't know which thread I'm tying. Go out my way. Right, we're here. The other thing is, when they do a lot of hand quilting, they often wear the silicone thimbles for gripping, you know. Right, okay, can you see that? That has given it a bit of a quilted effect. Can you see the ribbon in it? And of course then you don't need your tails that long, do you? Unless you want that effect in your work. I mean, I don't know, I'm not convinced it's a neat way of doing things. I suppose if you had to hand quilt, I think I'd rather do the Mennonite big stitches. But people that know, you know, people that do it often, it's like anything, isn't it? Practice makes perfect. Let's have another go with some over here. I mean, you get a bit of a look to it, but I think there's better techniques that give you a nicer effect. I don't know. Hope you're all okay. I'm a bit worried about a few of you. I don't know. I know you're having some awful weather over in Texas. So I'm going to email you, Nola, in a bit, because I've not like you not to be here. And I know they're having really cold, bizarre weather for this time of year. And quite a few other of, you know, our little community that are here on a regular basis are not heard much from them, which isn't like them. So whether they, hope you're all okay. And it's perhaps just the weather. I know Nola was saying that they've been having power outages and things. So, okay, press down. You see, to me, if you have too many in, they all start getting intermingled. Okay. And we'll just go up here. That's it. So let's have a look how long we've got. We've got plenty here for tying. We seem to have. I say that and then take a bit from there. Okay. And then I'm going to go down and tie it off because there's nothing worse of not tying off this end either, and the whole thing pulls through. It's a hot mess on the back, but you know, nobody's going to see this. It's going to have something on it. Okay, so let's see where we've got our. We'll start at this end because it's a bit more space here. You need to have been it, girl guides. Is it left over right and under, right over left and under, reef knot? Used to get a badge for that. I used to love it actually. I preferred brownies actually, the younger one, than guides. Guides were a bit too strict for me. I've always been a bit of a maverick sort, I think. A bit too strict for me, guides. We once went to Derbyshire to a guide, my very first and last, will I say, guide camp. Crikey, it was I mean, we're talking, I don't know, 71, 72, something like that. And off we went with this guide camp. Oh dear. And I mean, if you think modern day camping with the materials that they have in tents and things now that, you know, are waterproof and warm and that sort of thing, and all these sleeping bags that you can get that are, you know, minus this degree and that degree. None of that. Oh crikey, was I cold. Cold, wet. It was like being in she was very strict, this guide leader, back in the day, and oh, we were allowed to write a letter home in the week we were there. So I wrote this letter to my mum and dad. Please come and fetch me home. I hate it at this guide camp. Come and fetch me home. Anyway, unbeknown to us, she used to read our mail, and they never got to my mum and dad because she decided that weren't done thing, asking your mum and dad to come and fetch you home. Oh dear. So we slept in we all had to cook. I couldn't think of anything worse than cooking, you know, as a 12-year-old or whatever, cooking round this campfire. And I mean, we weren't a rich family, but that was still a shock to my system. Oh, I think we'll have a bit more off that. There we go. We'll do a bit more here. We seem to have been, to me it uses a lot of thread as well. So I wasn't really a camper from then on. I mean, things have got a lot better. We did get a tent when the kids were little, thank you. And really just for weekends, we still went away, you know, abroad and things, but for weekends I thought it was nice to get the kids out and about. And I second time we went, and our Joe said, we're not going again, are we? We've been once. I should never forget that. And yeah, we did. I don't think it rained long, that camp in Malarkey. We got a caravan in the end, which was a lot more civilised for me. Yeah, but you do all these things for kids, don't you? And then you find out later when they're adults they weren't that bothered. Well, I mean, our Joe used to tell you at the time. Oh, we're not going again, are we? We've been once. And you try it out in your back garden. You know, you've got to camp out to try it out. And then if you've forgotten anything, you've just got to go and let yourself back in the house. Has anybody else done that? Or is it just us daft things in England? Right, so let's see. Yeah, so that is the key to it, I think, is making sure that you leave big loops so that you're really not struggling with the tying of them. because that's an important, not got through, that's an important part of the whole process. So again, you just have your 2 edges and tie it off. Pull it a bit taut if you can, because it gives you a bit of a quilted ripple, as I call it. I don't know what the technical term would be for it, but you know, a bit of a ruffle. Okay. And snip your ends off. So I suppose you can get into your stride with it. I really didn't like using the real wool, because it's a devil to pull through layers, I think, when it's that thick. So let me know. I've still got the hashtag there, hashtag heartfelt thanks with an X on the end, because there's a lot of hashtags to do with heartfelt thanks, and at the minute there's only my hearts on there. So if you have done these, which some of you are saying you're doing, and you have got Instagram, please post on there and tag me in that at Catherine_Pinkett. Now then, have I done all my loops, my loop-de-loops? Yeah, I think I have there. So we'll just put a couple here and then we'll call it a video, I think. It's okay. I'm not, I can't say that it's one of my favourites, if I'm honest. But it's another technique to add to our, that's it, to add to our ideas book. Can you see there, look, that we haven't got anything to tie there, it's pulled far too tight. So hold that, because you don't want to take it from your other loop, you need to take it from this side, because if you don't hold this down it will just pull this loop through. Okay, I'm just going to take this through to the other side and tie it off. So that's the thing you've got to be mindful of. It's okay, you might think, oh, well, I've not left enough, but if you are going to readjust it, hold on to your other loops so that you're not pinching it off them, because I have done that, and then you're struggling to, like I was a bit there, the other one, trying to get them fastened. I probably didn't, you can still do it a bit when you're tying off if you're not careful. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something, I still didn't something, but I don't know what I didn't do. Too fiddly for me, I couldn't be doing with it. I'd end up, I haven't got the patience, I'd end up throwing it across room. Have a hissy fit. It'd make me have a hissy fit, this would, doing this regularly. It's quite nice in short bursts, perhaps. Oh, can you imagine doing a king size quilt like this back in the day? Well, some people still use it and they look amazing, but they never get the money for them, do they? The hours and hours of what's been, you know, put into it. There we go. Probably can't even tell it's a heart anymore, can you? I'll put a few more down there off camera. Oh, there's Nelson barking. Okay, my darlings, so thank you very much for bearing with me. Yeah, it's another technique to go with our stash. I'm not sure I'll be sending this one to anybody, you know, because they'll think, well, I've just got this in the post from Catherine and it's a hot mess. What's it supposed to be? Anyway, you take care out there. Let me know that you're all right. And don't forget to like. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a like. It helps me to grow my channel. And subscribe if you're not already. And much love and see you next time. Bye for now.